Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today I decided I wanted to share with you some of the methods and techniques I've used to help reduce anxiety symptoms. I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety and social anxiety disorder a couple years back, and at the time it really negatively impacted my life. Now the symptoms haven't gone away, but I've developed better techniques to cope with them that have really helped reduce the symptoms and allowed me to function better on a day-to-day basis. So let's get to it. Tip number 1 is to eat a healthy breakfast with plenty of protein. When your glucose levels are low, your body will produce more cortisol, and if your anxiety levels are already really high, you will be even more anxious. For me personally, this has helped because part of my anxiety has meant that I'm just very sensitive to my body's cues and signals. So when I'm really hungry, I just feel really uncomfortable and a little bit overwhelmed. Okay, so tip number 2 is to exercise, but the right amount. I try and go to the gym at least 3 to 4 times a week and do fairly short workouts, like 20 to 30 minute workouts. So when you work out, your body releases endorphins, and endorphins are natural anti-anxiety and antidepressants. Endorphins are great. Endorphins are your friend. But I want you to be careful that you do not get addicted to exercise. Yes, exercise addiction is a thing. One thing to watch out for to make sure that you're not starting to become addicted is to make sure that you still are prioritizing other things in your life. If you start finding that you are evaluating the quality of your day based on whether you got your workout in, or if you notice that you are canceling plans with people because you have to get your workout in, an irrational fear of missing the workout, then I suggest that you sort of dial back and focus on some other things in your life. Tip number 3 is to find some hobbies that take your entire focus. So when you are completely focused on something, your anxious thoughts have less to grab onto because your attention is elsewhere. It's on what you're doing. It's not on what's going on in your head. It's not on your fears. If you're anxious, watching TV probably isn't a pastime that will make you less anxious, because when you're watching TV, your mind can still think about all this other stuff because it's not taking your involvement. So I would say find things to get involved in. Find more active hobbies rather than passive hobbies, and I think that will help out a lot. Tip number 4 is to start practicing some meditation. By meditation, I don't mean just sitting there and trying not to think. What I mean by meditation is trying to sort of create some distance between yourself and your thoughts. Now, when you're starting to feel anxious, your anxiety will fuel all of these anxious thoughts, and if you decide to follow them, you're just gonna go down this rabbit hole of anxiety. Meditation helps in that it stops you from going down that rabbit hole. You can kind of witness your thoughts going by, but you know you don't have to grab onto them. You don't have to take them so seriously. When you stop feeding your emotions with these thoughts, then the emotion sometimes dissolves. So meditating has been extremely helpful for me, and that's probably the number 1 takeaway from this video. This kind of goes along with the whole meditation thing. Another thing that's been really helpful for me is writing down the specific anxious thoughts I have. When I have anxiety, it's really easy to have a thought and believe it just because the thought I'm having has such a extreme emotional response. It just feels so real inside of me. But if I'm actually able to write down the specific thoughts, then I can kind of talk myself out of them. I can see them and think logically, okay, maybe that thought isn't completely true, even though it felt true to me at the time. Okay, another thing that's been extremely helpful for me is to really reduce my alcohol intake. This can be hard because when you first drink alcohol, it reduces your anxiety levels. But alcohol is in fact a depressant, so when the alcohol is starting to wear off, you're gonna feel the depressive symptoms that will lower your mood and make you think more negative thoughts. Not only that, but the next day I tend to overthink what happened the night before because I know I wasn't fully aware of what happened, so I try and piece together the parts, and I can spend forever thinking about it, and it drives me crazy. So that's been something that's been extremely helpful for me, just reducing my alcohol intake. And then some people say to also cut out caffeine, but to be honest, I cannot do that, and I cannot see myself doing that anytime in the near future. So yeah, that might work for you, but I can't do it. So another thing that's extremely helpful is to focus on your senses. So instead of focusing on your head and all the anxious thoughts you're having, and instead of trying not to have those thoughts, because let's be honest, if you try not to think of something, you are gonna think of it even more. So you gotta just focus your attention elsewhere. Pay close attention to an object in the room. Try and describe its color. Think of how it makes you feel, etc., etc. It can be helpful to like have a drink or something and sip on that drink and focus on the sensations, on the exact taste that you're experiencing. It's helpful when you're out and about, like socializing, to chew a piece of gum and focus on the chewing instead of on your anxious thoughts. I like to carry a drink with me, like some coffee or some water or something like that, and that's really helpful for me. I hope you guys enjoyed these tips, and if you want to subscribe, go for it. I mean, I'm going to be posting more videos about this kind of thing and other things as well, just some of my interests. So some videos are going to be more planned out than others. I hope you guys have a great day. Love, much love. You got this.